on, scaredy cat.
The biggest challenge is balancing the horror and the humor. That was the thing that R.L. Stine told us when we first met him early on, was the key to Goosebumps, at least when he was writing the books, was keeping it funny and scary. And when it gets, you can do a scare as long as it's followed by a joke. And he said that's like his mantra for doing the safe scares, and that's why the books were so popular. And so we just, to stay true to the spirit of those books, that was the thing to capture. And so I just tried my best to keep the world grounded, so that this crazy supernatural things could happen in it, and then cast the funniest people ever.
Now, there's a lot of books represented to varying degrees. At what point was that you, or who chose what got in?
Well, before me, definitely Slappy was integral, and then I think the Snowman might have been in, but then once we started really developing the script and preparing to make the movie, it became a combination of getting in monsters that I thought I could, do a really good job with visually and practically, and things that, we could not only afford, but, have pop off the screen. So it became this war room of like a Wikipedia of every Goosebumps monster with breakdowns of everything. And then I just started working with a monster design concept artist, and just tried to crack the code of what our look for the monsters would be, because I wanted to be real. I didn't want them to be silly, but I also didn't want them to be so terrifying that it would freak people out. So it was just a lot of work, a lot of hard work.
Now, I have to ask, was Slappy at least in part inspired by Jack Black's wonderful performance as a ventriloquist in The Cradle Will Rock?
Oh my God, that's a first time. Well, Slappy is inspired a lot by Jack Black, because once we had the puppet working and I had the sculpt of the head, I went back in with the creature designer who did it and had him manipulate Slappy's face so that it resembled Jack's face, because there's a moment in the end of the movie where that plays a big role, and I wanted to line up and just be a subtle hint at it. So yeah, Slappy is very much inspired by Jack, and in the storyline, he's the alter ego of R.L. Stine, so it all made sense.
Now, I asked R.L. about this, but in the Goosebumps heyday, when they had the fan club, they had the mascot Curly.
Yeah.
Did he ever come up in discussions for this?
I feel like he must have at one moment, and I don't know why. I can't remember. God, it's been so long. There was a lot of just the basic idea of the movie that was kind of solidified before I became involved. So once the basic map of the story was there, once I got there, it was all about how do I make an Amblin movie out of this thing, and it's such a great excuse because that's what I really wanted to do, and it just felt like the right choice tonally. So that's really what we did. But I do think there's probably a draft that predates me that might have had Curly in it. I don't know. You'll have to investigate.
Now, are there any monsters, because a lot is represented here. Is there anything that you really were a little bummed out, like, man, I wish that got in?
No, I got everything I wanted. We have key monsters that play big roles in these set pieces that I handpicked because I knew how to make those pop. So I felt really good about that. And then the litany of them that show up in the third act. That's a lot of that was just working with the special effects guys to figure out what we could do. So yeah, people keep saying, why don't you put the haunted mask in there? And I keep trying to say, the haunted mask is in there. It's just you have to look hard. So I think my only regret is not being able to feature some of the monsters that are actually in there more. But you have to let the story guide you.
So assuming, and again, it's assumption, but assuming there were to be a sequel and that you were to be involved, would you want to revisit some of these creatures, or would you want to try and pull in some new stuff?
I have not thought at all about a sequel. There's no plans for a sequel, only because the movie has to do well for it to happen. So I was just thinking, like, all in on this movie, and whoever directs a sequel, they can deal with it. But no, I would love to. But honestly, we didn't until next weekend. We just don't know what's going to happen. So if there is a sequel, it'd be super fun to do, and daunting at the same time, because we used up so many monsters in this film.
Is that a difficult sell, like when you're talking to the studio with everybody's building these giant interconnected universes that have 35 films in them? Is it a difficult sell to be like, no, we want to like blow the doors off of one movie and then just see what happens?
I mean, the whole thing's a difficult sell nowadays, to be honest with you. Unless you're a Marvel movie or a Star Wars thing, or it's just very hard, especially for a movie this size. We're in that medium range budget that just, these movies are not being made anymore. And so it was tricky. It was a tricky fight all the way along to get the movie to be made. But we had a really great studio, and they were very supportive of it, and they loved the material, and it was just a great idea, and it's a huge book series that no one's made a movie of. So I think, that's how it happened.
I will, one more, and I'll let you go because I know you're running late. But
no, I'm not running late. I just want to go buy some stuff.
Well, the thing that
Comic-Con's almost over, guys. I haven't had a chance to go spend money.
Well, the thing that I noticed when I was prepping for the interview is that both of the boys had appeared on The Haunting Hour.
I know.
Was there a reason? Like, did you intentionally do that, or?
Total coincidence. Yeah. I mean, the truth is, when I auditioned for this particular age group, because I wanted them to be real teenagers of this age, a lot of people who auditioned happened to be either in the Haunting Hour or in the original Goosebumps series as little kids. So, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, that was a coincidence.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.